I think this guitar sounds really good with like just strumming with your fingers. Sounds really good with finger picking. Hey, it's Levi and welcome back. I'm a longtime musician and guitar teacher, and today we are taking a look at the Ibanez PN19. Now this parlor guitar is a really great value for money. I personally paid 320 bucks for this. However, it's on sale right now for $279. So this guitar is really affordable, and I think it is a really good option for players who might be starting out playing guitar, who are just learning, just kind of getting their first guitar, or a player who would like a travel guitar, something that they can take with them when they go somewhere, whether it's camping or whether it's like to a friend's house, or they could mount a pickup in there and do some gigging with a guitar like this, because it performs well and it's really inexpensive. So if you had this guitar and you were taking it around with you and some jerk stole it from you, at the very least, it's not that expensive, so you could replace it because you can just kind of buy another one. So I really like this guitar. And I'm also going to do a little bit of playing on this guitar so you can see how it sounds, at least when I play it. So let's get into it. So first off, I'm gonna go over 4 elements that I care about in a guitar. 1 is looks, 2 is feel, 3 is sound, and 4 is build quality, okay? There might be other things that you might be interested in, but those are the 4 that I think kind of sum up the basic idea, right? So in terms of looks, when I first saw this guitar, I was just like, dude, this guitar looks super cool. I really love how they've done the burst, how they have this kind of yellowy, kind of lemony kind of look, and how it fades into this brown. I think of it like an iced tea finish. I don't know what they call it actually for real, but I like it. It looks really nice. I like how they've got the double binding on the guitar too. I think that looks really nice and proper, whereas a lot of inexpensive guitars won't have binding, and you'll just see the wood edge, which isn't the end of the world. But it's a nice touch when manufacturers do decide to do binding, especially the double binding. Big fan of that. I like the strap buttons on here. They are a little bit bigger and better shaped than some of the cheapest strap buttons that you can get, so I like that. The neck is quite nice. It joins up at the 12th fret, so you don't have a lot of high fret excess, but for a guitar like this, I would say that's not really an issue, because the type of player that's going to be playing this is going to be mostly playing chords and stuff, maybe a bit of lead melody and stuff, but they won't really need to go up to fret 14, 15. Like if you needed to, you could reach up there, but it's just not that convenient, right? So if you're like a lead player playing up really high, get a guitar with a cutout, right? But this is like a songwriting guitar. Like that's how I look at it. These parlor guitars are actually named after the front room of a house, and that is basically what I call a living room, but way back in the day, these were parlors. They were at the front of your house, and that's where you might entertain guests and things like that, right? So this type of guitar, I believe, was designed to be like the optimal kind of couch guitar, right? Because, you know, it sounds decent enough. It's something that can work really well with singing as well, because it's not super loud and boomy. It's a nice kind of soft sounding guitar automatically, so you can sing over top of it pretty nicely, I think. We've got a nice headstock. I like how they've designed it. It looks nice to me. I like the open back tuners. Typically, I'm not a big fan of open back tuners because in my experience, a lot of the open back tuners are not that good, but these ones actually hold tune really well. I've always been impressed by those. I like the way that they've done the logo and this little thingy. Looks good to me. I dig it. One thing that I really like about this as well is the bridge is compensated. So it intonates better than a guitar that doesn't have the compensated bridge. So I dig that a lot. In terms of feel, this guitar really spoke to me. When I first played it, I was floored with just how kind of easily I could move around on the neck. Just because it's a nice, easily playable guitar neck, and it already had fairly low action, but it's just really easy to play with, and I really enjoy that. So feel super good. Now I will have to say, I did have to get it set up from a proper tech once I bought the guitar. And that's just because cheap guitars typically aren't set up all that well. Even expensive guitars sometimes aren't set up all that well straight out of the store. So highly recommend bringing your guitar to a tech who does like fret leveling, fret polishing, like real guitar stuff, not just like, oh, I'll set your action for you and call it a day. So basically with the tech setup, a couple things. One, I got the frets leveled and polished so that way I can get good clean sounds out of each note on the fretboard, which is important because you don't want a buzzy fret. And the guitar tech actually told me, yeah, there was a few of these frets that were a little bit high, so he fixed that up pretty well. We got the frets polished so that way when you do vibrato, you're not hearing an excess friction on basically the fret, right? Because if it's not a super smooth surface, you'll hear this kind of thing, right, on your guitar. If you're having something like that happening with your guitar, I guarantee you, if you went and got your frets polished and put new strings on there, it would feel amazing after that. So from a feel standpoint, I was super impressed with the guitar, and I still am. I still enjoy this quite a lot. Sound. When it comes to sound, I don't believe this guitar has the best sound in the world. But for a guitar in this price range, $279, beginner guitar, sounds great to me. Now, I've played a lot of cheap guitars, cheap beginner guitars, inexpensive stuff, right? And a lot of times they just sound like cardboard, or they just sound really bad to me anyways. A lot of them, right? Some of them sound really good, and I would say that this is on the better side of it. Now, I believe this guitar is lacking in a little bit of bass, but I think that's probably just because of the size of the body, right? You can only get so much bass out of a small instrument like that. That's why, things like ukuleles, they typically don't sound very bassy. They're usually pretty bright and shrill. Whereas with a full-size acoustic guitar, if you can see mine over there, that sounds a lot bigger and fuller, a rounder kind of bass sound. Whereas this is a little bit more kind of bright, more kind of thin sounding, But I think it has a good balance, right? You can still hear some of the low end. It's not as clear as some of the other guitars, but like I say, for the price, it's good, man. And then from a build quality standpoint, I'm fairly impressed with this guitar for the price. However, there's things that you gotta be aware of if you're buying a guitar in this price range. One is they don't put a whole lot of love and care into these instruments. I found the nut was a little bit too wide when I first got it, which is kind of weird, right? Wasn't fitted quite right. So I had the guitar tech take it off and actually file it down to the correct size. So now it's fitted perfectly, so it's not hanging off the edges, which is kind of annoying and cheap and anyways. And one of the other build quality things that I wasn't like super thrilled about is just that every corner on the guitar felt sharp and like to the point of like being uncomfortable. So like the corner of the fretboard, I was strumming on it first few days and I hurt my finger because I hit it on the corner of the fretboard, so that hurt. And then also the corners of the bridge, they were a little bit too sharp as well. So all I did there was I took a file and I just filed the sharp edges just to make it feel nice and smooth again, which made a world of difference, right? Because like you want your guitar to feel comfortable to play. You don't want to be like battling sharp edges, right? So that's kind of a big thing. But overall, pretty good. On the outside, it looks and feels really good. I am definitely stoked with how this guitar kind of is built. However, I've got to admit, probably on the inside, they might not have like done every single bracing like super perfectly, because kind of what happens is with these cheaper guitars, like they get mass produced, right? They don't have like all the time and care that gets put into like these super expensive guitars, right? So I'm sure if you cut this thing open and looked at the bracing, you'd probably see some shortcuts and stuff, right? And maybe even like the quality of the woods, like it might not be like super good. But again, this guitar is so cheap, like $279 Canadian. Like I don't even know how much it would be in the States. It's super affordable guitar, throw like $120 to a tech or however much it costs, and then away you go. You got an amazing guitar you can take with you. I think it's a really inspiring one to play. I've always really enjoyed this guitar. It's just You know, it's been one of those things that kind of sparks joy, if you know what I mean. So I recommend it. You know, if you're interested in a guitar like this, definitely check this one out. It's a Ibanez PN19. This guitar also could make a really great gift for someone that you know, someone that you love. This guitar, I think, although it's really cheap, it appeals to like beginners, intermediates, and advanced players. And I have really been loving every minute of owning this guitar. It's been really, really good. So check out this footage of me playing it. It also sounds good with a pick. But I really just like how it sounds when you're doing single note playing, especially like finger picking on. I think it sounds really, really great with that. And that's about it for this video. So thanks so much for watching. I encourage you to hit the like button, consider subscribing to my channel so you can see more of my content. And until then, I will see you next time. Bye for now, everyone.